Hey everyone, welcome back. In today's video, we're going to show you how we go about starting the seeds that'll become the plants for our garden this year. If you're new here, we have a 5-acre property in south central British Columbia where we spend most of our summers tending some chickens and growing a garden. But the rest of the year we live in the suburbs, about 5 hours drive away, so this is where we get all of our plants started and up and growing, and then we transport them to the farm a few months later. All right, it is time to start seeds for the plants we're going to be taking to Left Field Farm this summer. It is now the very beginning of April, and while there's snow on the ground at Left Field Farm, these seedlings are getting started here on the coast where there is not any snow on the ground. Anyway, let's get started. So sometime around the end of last growing season, we did go through and make a little list of the varieties of peppers and tomatoes and cucumbers that did really well for us. And then we just kind of put that list aside for several months. Somewhere around, what would you say, January? February,
yeah,
we sort of pulled the list out and with new enthusiasm get started choosing what varieties and how many of each we're going to do. So
that's where we are, and then we get our calendar out and we back up from the last frost date at the farm,
which is
May 5th, and we go back several weeks and we decide what to start first. Peppers usually need a little longer, so we like to start them now. And then in a couple weeks from now we'll start tomatoes, and they seem to grow a lot quicker. Now we're sorting out the seeds, the pepper seeds that we have, so we can get ready to put some soil into pots. Go from there, but first we need some pots.
So before we even get started putting dirt and seeds in the pots,
We clean the crud out of last year's dirty starter pots.
which I guess is one of those things we could do at the end of that part of the growing season, but you're usually so anxious to get on to the next thing and get them potted and into the ground and then transported that this gets left. So it turns out yogurt, or in this case cottage cheese containers, work really well for slicing up and making labels, so we don't forget what we planted in what pot.
Yeah.
So usually what we're looking for in a seed starting mix is something as sterile as possible. It's usually just a peat moss and vermiculite and perlite combination. Once they start to put on their second set of leaves, then we generally up pot them, and at that time they go into a regular potting soil and we fortify it with a bit of compost and fertilizer. All right, so now let's get some seeds into the soil. As a general rule of thumb, the smaller the seeds, the more shallow you plant them, and the larger the seed, the deeper you plant them. Like pumpkin and squash seeds are large and they go down quite deep. Carrot seeds, lettuce seeds, they're really tiny, so they don't go down very far at all. They're more scattered on the top. These guys are kind of a medium-sized seed, and so they go down about maybe half an inch or so. So any little pokey device, or even your fingertip if you need, works well. And then you just pat down some soil and make sure that that seed has got, good contact with soil. And then you get ready to start watering. We kind of gave them a little light spray with a spray bottle first, but then just a light watering. So a little bit of plastic bag if you have one that fits the right size. Or in this case,
even though it's in the,
saran wrap. This just helps to keep some moisture inside.
especially initially. I want them to get a good, it's not going to say very well, is it? All right, well, that's probably the tags are in the wrong spot. Okay.
So that is it for the seed starting stage. A little space blanket goes over and just helps to reflect the light back in and keep the warmth inside. Anyway, that's it.
Check them tomorrow for giving a little top up of moisture, and away we go.
How often or how long do you think before they need to get up watered?
These are peppers predominantly, so the peppers will be probably at least 3 weeks.
All right. So that's it for today. In about 3 weeks' time, we'll be starting our tomato seeds. And then after that, we will start our cucumber and squash and onions. So thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you on the next one. In the meantime, happy gardening. Bye-bye.
When I'll be coming home, I plan to let you know.